Hey everybody, Ryan and Greg here,
Hi.
and we're here to break down the opening title sequence of Hulu's new series, Castle Rock. There's a lot of Easter eggs and references hidden in there that we found for you.
Yeah, somebody went to town on a bunch of old Stephen King novels, and we're here to put them back together for you.
Went to town, you say? What town would that be? Castle
Shut
Rock?
up.
But first, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We got you covered here at Universe for comic deep dives, TV breakdowns, and movie reviews. The main title sequence to Castle Rock is actually pretty interesting because it only sources a handful of novels, one extremely non-canon reference, and most of it is not specific to the Castle Rock town.
And this raises questions on whether or not the show will go beyond referencing anything specific canon to Castle Rock in general, and will it go beyond that to other King's books?
And one more quick side note, there is one thing that was definitely visible and we weren't able to figure out what it was, and we'll point that out to you. Let us know in the comments when we get there. First up, a book opens and we can see very clearly circled the devil in Castle Rock. Also underlined Psalm 917. On the left side you can see Castle Canyon Water District. There's also a bit on the right that says decent Christians can smell hellfire. This is from Needful Things. The next shot holds on the table of contents, which shows the two dead girls and Mouse on the Mile. This is from the Green Mile table of contents. And also, interestingly, on this page, there's a handwritten note pointing to Mouse on the Mile, which says, possible of Mice and Men reference. The next image shows a creepy church steeple in a small town. This is the cover of Needful Things. After that, there's some page flipping, and we see an extreme close-up on the cover of It, followed by a couple of close-ups on the cover of Cujo. Next up, there is a chapter 19 page, which is underlined, and underneath it says, Jimmy ran back to Matt's room. That is Salem's Lot. Next is a map of Maine, including Castle Rock and Derry with some handwritten notes. This one's a doozy, and this is definitely my favorite one of the bunch. First off, you can see Crash Site written near Haven, which is a reference to the Tommyknockers. You can see 11:44 a.m. by Chester's Mill, which is a reference to Under the Dome. By Bridgeton, there is a note Arrowhead, which refers to the Arrowhead Project located there from The Mist and a handful of other stories. Under Castle Rock is the note Pop 1500, which is a reference to the population of Castle Rock in 1991. And near Littletail in the cluster of islands, you can see The Storm of the Century, which was a Stephen King miniseries from 1999. All of the above, by the way, were Stephen King miniseries. Lastly, the map itself, which references a total solar eclipse on Saturday, is from Gerald's Game. The solar eclipse, which occurred on July 20th, 1963, was also in Dolores Claiborne. We see the torn up main title page to Dolores Claiborne under Melanie Linsky's name.
Under Bill Skarsgård's title, you can make out mashed potatoes, knob of his cane, this day Jack, and maybe a few other phrases from The Shining.
Under Jane Levy's name, we see Misery's Return upside down. This is the Part 2, Chapter 6 title page from Misery. There's a quick flutter of pages and book covers right here, and the first one is from Misery. It's a very close close-up on Misery. And then right after that, there's a close-up on an axe, and you can see a rug. This is a different cover to Misery. Next up, there's a tree line that looks to be around dawn or dusk, and this is the cover of Nightmares and Dreamscapes. Under Sissy Spacek's title is the title page from Cujo, as well as a clipping of what looks like the stamp from a library.
The J.J. Abrams title card has 2 pages. The first on the left is All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, famously from The Shining. And the right side shows a map of Shawshank State Prison. I'm not positive on this one because Shawshank appears in a few different King novels, but it could be from Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption. Now there are a few floating pieces of paper here. One very clearly says 217, which is the room number from The Shining. Now in the top left corner, there's a blurry table of contents. This is where we need your help because we can't make out anything other than 1958, which is circled. Now, It takes place in 1958, but those are definitely not the chapter headings from that book. Let us know in the comments if you figured this one out.
Also, below 217, there's some handwriting referencing Cujo. The writing on the next page is super huge and says, "They float, Geordie." That's just one big damn page from It. The Stephen King title card has Red Rum Murder from The Shining. Also on this page is a torn piece of paper with a handwritten 217 pointing to 237. This is a non-canon reference to the room number change between Stephen King's novel and Stanley Kubrick's film The Shining. I also think it's a little odd given that King hated the Kubrick film. Lastly, there are a whole bunch of pages flashed as the title Castle Rock comes together. In here we see the Shining title page with some other blurry pages, we see the Cujo title page, Pennywise Lives from It, and a few other pages, and on the last flicker, we can really only make out It. Now, it's totally possible that this is just the work of a, pretty clever title sequence designer.
Could be just meta.
It doesn't really tie into the plot or the narrative of the story, but I kind of like the idea that maybe there is sort of like the Stephen King cinematic universe that
starts
we're
here.
gonna get treated to, and like there are going to be these other books and these other stories, and maybe even things like how the room number changed in our real world. Like, does Stephen King exist in the Castle Rock universe?
I'm just gonna shake my head and go, no, that's not gonna happen, dude.
I don't think it is either, but a boy can dream, right?
All right, on that note, guys, we're gonna get out of here, and we will see you soon for part 1 and 2 breakdown.
Yeah, 1 and 2 in one video.
In one video, and then we're gonna have the third one right after that. We will see you here for all of Castle Rock breakdowns from here on out, me and Ryan. We'll see you guys later, and we're not gonna talk about Twin Peaks at all. There, that's it. It's the only time I'm gonna say it. Don't do it. Don't do the thing with the finger. That was only in the movie. That's not in the book.